The third baseman, number 24, Joe Creedy. Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 33, Aaron Rowan. Batting ninth, in the bullpen, the catcher, number 15, Sandy Alomar. And warming up in the bullpen, the pitcher, number 16, Scott Schoenweiss. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the first baseline and welcome the 26-time world champions and the 39-time American League champions, our New York Yankees. The head trainer, Gene Monahan. Assistant trainer, Steve Donahue. Equipment managers, Rob Kakuza and Lou Kakuza Jr. Strength and conditioning coach, Jeff Mangold. Massage therapist, Scott Yellen. And the coaches. In the bullpen coach, number 50, Rich Monteleone. In the bullpen, the catching instructor, number 58, Gary Tuck. Special assignment instructor and acting third base coach, number 59, Rob Thompson. First base coach, number 54, Roy White. In the bullpen, the pitching coach, number 34, Mel Stoppelmeyer. Hitting coach, number 23, Don Mattingly. Bench coach, number 30, Willie Randolph. And now, the Yankees non-starters. Number 12, Kenny Lofton. Number 17, John Flaherty. Number 19, Bubba Crosby. Number 27, Kevin Brown. Number 29, Tony Clark.
Sold out.
Number 35, Mike Messina. Number 36, Tom Gordon. Number 40, Gabe White. Number 41, Miguel Cairo. Number 42, Mariano Rivera. Number 43, Jorge De Paula. Number 45, Felix Heredia. Number 46, Donovan Osborne. Number 48, Paul Quantrill. And number 52, Jose Contreras. And now, the Yankees starting lineup. First, the manager, number 6, Joe Torre. Leading off, the shortstop, number 2, Derek Jeter. Batting second, the center fielder, number 51, Bernie Williams. the third baseman, number 13, Alex Rodriguez. Batting fourth, the first baseman, number 25, Jason Jambi. Batting fifth, the right fielder, number 11, Gary Sheffield. Batting sixth, in the bullpen, the catcher, number 20, Jorge Posada. Batting seventh, the left fielder, number 55, Hideki Matsui. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 24, Ruben Sierra. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 14, Enrique Wilson. And warming up in the bullpen, the pitcher, number 33, Javier Vasquez. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2004 New York Yankees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to center field. During the singing of our national anthem, a giant American flag will be unfurled by 40 West Point cadets. Let's give a warm Yankee Stadium welcome to these young men and women who exemplify a commitment to duty, honor, and country. Ladies and gentlemen, at the conclusion of our national anthem, please be sure to direct your attention to the sky as 4 United States Navy F-14 Tomcats will fly over Yankee Stadium. The fighting checkmates are from Navy Fighter Squadron 211 and recently returned from deployment in the Persian Gulf above the USS Enterprise. Would you please rise for the presentation of colors? And please direct your attention now to the area behind second base. And let's have a warm round of applause for the United States Military Academy at West Point Cadet Color Guard. And now direct your attention to the microphones behind home plate and welcome the United States Military Academy at West Point Cadet Glee Club under the direction of Constance Chase. They will sing our national anthem.
Oh, the York's sports leader.
Humble roots gave birth to a museum of greatness, a house of highlights, a veritable baseball planetarium of the game's most glittering stars. If these walls could talk, oh, the stories they could tell. The best players, the most spine-tingling moments of the national pastime have taken place in the house that Ruth built on a humble piece of Bronx real estate. Flipping through the game's history books could serve as a scorecard for the immortals that have proudly modeled the pinstripes. It is a legacy passed down through generations. Nothing in the will, mind you, something much more valuable, giving rise to the question of where has it all gone? But era to era, the story unfolds as one hero morphs into the next, as the memories form a mosaic of champions, resembling a brisk walk through the halls of Cooperstown. Strangely, the game's great moments have the stadium serving as a familiar backdrop, the grandest stage hosting the grandest moments. And as the weathered pictures in the mind's photo album turn to vivid Technicolor, the images remain goosebump-inducing. The greatness of long ago giving birth to the greatness of yesterday, and eventually evolving into the greatness of today. And now the march of memories continue. Like their predecessors, the stars of today get to play Broadway and what shows they have produced, adding more videotape to the mind's highlight reel. The greatest heroes in the game, even those debuting under the white-hot glare, serving as a bridge back to yesterday. The trip remains the same as the turnstiles of the past and the ones of today gain entry into the baseball cathedral. Opening day in the Bronx. Get your memories here. After almost 2 months, around February 13th, February 14th, and when they touched down last night at about 11 o'clock in the evening after their 3-2 victory over the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they got a chance to set foot in New York, many of them for the first time in almost 2 months. So they are home, they are ready, and this will begin a little bit of a mini homestand before they head out to Boston. So the season's starting to get underway. They started the season 2-2. They split 2 games with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. That was in Tokyo. And then they split 2 games with those same Devil Rays in Tropicana Field. When you're at Yankee Stadium, you just turn around, you bump into people like Phil Rizzuto, Joe Torre, Whitey Ford, and the first pitch ceremony is always very, very special here. It's a huge crowd at Yankee Stadium. You cannot get a seat, and now the Yankee fans will get a chance to see their Yankees in the home white pinstripes in person for the first time this year as the Yankees take the field.
Michael, baseball is actually enjoying one of the best PR years that they've ever had in the history of this game, and they had to send the greatest franchise in baseball history around the world to open up before they got back here to Yankee Stadium. But you see the likes of Yogi Berra, and you see Whitey Ford, the chairman of the board, and of course the Scooter Phil Rizzuto will be here, along with all the other legends and all the mysteries that go and the legendary things that have happened here at this great Yankee Stadium.
Well, there is certainly, as Kurt Schilling is wont to say, an aura and a mystique about Yankee Stadium. And there's part of the reason why. That trio of gentlemen, Phil Rizzuto, Yogi Berra, and Whitey Ford, all of them in the Baseball Hall of Fame, all of them with their numbers retired in left field here at Yankee Stadium. And with them walking all those championships, and the Chicago White Sox actually standing on the top step of their dugout, giving these Yankee legends a hand. So that tells you exactly how big this is. So it'll be a triple first pitch by 3 of the greatest names in the history of baseball. So they're warming up, and they are ready, and Rizzuto will go last, and he bounces one to Flaherty, and that is the official beginning of the baseball season here in New York.
I tell you, that was a nice touch by the White Sox. I think it shows great respect for the game and for this franchise and for the 3 guys that threw out the first pitch, all headed by their new young manager, Ozzie Guillen.
And you know what, Kenny, that's one of the great words that I hear around baseball today is the respect that the players have for what the game meant to them before they got here to play, for the guys that are playing today, and just for baseball in general and how they respect their own uniforms.
Now going from the old to the new, Javi Vasquez is making his Yankee debut right here on opening day. How new is Javi Vasquez? When he got to the ballpark early this morning, They didn't know who he was. They had to check his credentials. Wait, where are you going? Wait, let's see your credential. Oh, who are you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the starter today. That's who I am.
Yeah, by August, they'll know him pretty well.
You know what? The first time I came to Yankee Stadium, Michael and Jimmy, they would not let me in the stadium. They did not let me in the stadium because I didn't have credentials. They didn't know who I was. They thought I was sneaking in here, and they had to get permission. They had to call downstairs to get me into the stadium.
Well, let's take a look at the White Sox lineup that Javi Vasquez is going to face. White Sox starting lineup is brought to you by Toyota with 17 models, which is perfect for you. Willie Harris, the young second baseman, leads off. Batting second and playing shortstop, Jose Valentin. Maglio Ordonez in right field will hit third. Batting cleanup and DHing, Frank Thomas. Carlos Lee, the left fielder, will hit fifth. Batting sixth and playing first base, Paul Konerko. Good numbers at Yankee Stadium. Joe Creedy is the third baseman. He'll hit seventh. Batting eighth and playing center field, Aaron Rowan. And Sandy Alomar Jr., one of the few veterans on this team, he will catch and he will bat ninth. And the average roster age of the White Sox is 28.9 years old.
And that's a little older than Javier Vasquez. He's just 27. That's his numbers from last year with Montreal. 13 and 12, 241 strikeouts. Let's check out the pitcher's scouting report. It's brought to you by Rico. Now that might seem like an oxymoron, a power change. How do you have that? Well, he's got the kind of changeup you can strike out hitters with. He's young and he's durable. Threw more pitches than any other pitcher last year except Barry Zito. The question mark, will he handle the big stage? We'll find out.
Well, this is the biggest stage. He's playing Broadway right now, and the first pitch is foul back, so we are underway. Today's game on CBS2 can be heard in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Jeep. Trail-rated capability only in a Jeep 4x4. And the 0-1. Popped up, left field. Matsui is there. One away.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the Yankee defense. You see Matsui in left field. We're also going to have Bernie Williams, who made a great catch yesterday down in Tampa in center field. Gary Sheffield in right. Giambi, Wilson, Jeter, and A-Rod around the horn. And Jorge Posada doing the catching.
And Bernie Williams is back in center field. He started yesterday, and Kenny Lofton is not even in the lineup today, so Bernie Williams gets the start in center field, his accustomed spot here at the stadium. And the pitch to Jose Valentin is a strike.
Joe say that Kenny Lofton's still bothered by that sore quad in his legs, so he thought he'd give him the day off and let Ruben Sierra be the designated hitter.
The bleacher creatures out in right center field doing their roll call, and they just gave A-Rod his first call, and he saluted them, so he is part of the gang. And the 0-2. Missed inside.
They got to do a little rehearsing during the winter, those bleacher creatures, as we look at the umpires, because better than a 50% turnover in the Yankee roster.
See the umpires today: Dan Iasonia behind the plate, Charlie Relaford, Jeff Kellogg, and Doug Eddings. The stadium looks great. Had a nice winter off after the World Series, and place is packed. You could not get a ticket for today's game. Over 55,000.
In fact, the Yankees have already pre-sold almost 3 million tickets for the year.
A new feature, new message boards on the facing of the second deck as Valentin goes down on strikes.
Kind of looks like he's very comfortable with this big stage. Comes out throwing strikes, a quick out, and then gets a tough left-hand hitter. Jose Valentin on a good breaking ball. Vasquez, a 4-pitch pitcher. That was a look at his curveball.
Here's Maglio Ordonez, and the pitch is outside.
Well, the one thing that you know, if you've never faced Vasquez before, and a lot of these players have never faced Vasquez before, but through the scouting reports, you know from a hitter standpoint, when you walk to home plate, you better be ready to swing the bat because he's going to be around the strike zone. He throws a lot of strikes. He doesn't get behind hitters, and so from a hitter standpoint, you be ready once you walk into the home plate area.
The Yankee position players are going to enjoy playing behind Vasquez and Kevin Brown. Both guys throw a lot of strikes. They work fast. They keep their fielders on their toes.
And the 1-1. Javi Vasquez is no stranger to the strikeout. In fact, third in the major leagues last year with 241 behind Wood and Pryor of the Cubs. The 1-2. Popped him up. Foul territory, third base side. A-Rod can't get there. It's on the top step of the dugout.
I'll tell you what, with 2 strikes on a hitter in the National League in Montreal, he never heard this kind of support. When they gave him the A-Rod a little cautious there near the railing. This is new territory for him. Remember, he didn't have to do that when he was a shortstop, so it's all part of the learning process.
And he's been very open about the fact that if he has a weakness defensively, it's pop-ups. Told Derek Jeter to get everything you can get. And the 1-2. Popped up behind the plate. Posada giving chase. He's there, and that'll do it. An impressive first inning for Javi Vasquez, and you wonder what's going through that man's mind. He will hit third in the bottom of the first inning. White Sox go down in order, and the Yankees coming to bat. Models, which is perfect for you. Derek Jeter, the shortstop, will lead off, batting second and playing center field. Bernie Williams, who has great numbers against the White Sox starter, Scott Schoenweiss. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman, will hit third, and it's his Yankee debut at the stadium. Jason Giambi at first base will bat cleanup. Batting fifth and playing right field, also debuting as a Yankee here in the Bronx, Gary Sheffield. Jorge Posada will catch, he'll bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing left field, Hideki Matsui. Ruben Sierra gets the start as the DH today, he'll bat eighth. Batting ninth and playing second base. He had the game-winning sac fly yesterday, Enrique Wilson.
And they'll face lefty Scott Schoenweiss. You see his numbers combined with the Anaheim Angels and the White Sox. And this, as we check out the scouting report brought to you by Rico on Scott Schoenweiss, could he be a left-handed Mike Messina? He's a dookie. His pitching coach Don Cooper said the one thing we have to battle with him, he's very, very analytical. Now his cutter is back. He hasn't thrown a cutter in a couple of years since he was with the Angels, and he's out of the stretch. He's back in the windup. He has not started a game since halfway through the year 2002, but the White Sox think with that added cutter and a good changeup, he could fit right into their rotation.
So Derek Jeter will dig in. Jeter has pretty good numbers, over 320 lifetime batting out of the number 1 slot in the lineup, and last year against left-handed pitchers, a 370 hitter. Over 4 games, a little bit of a slow start, but he did have 2 hits in yesterday's 3-2 Yankee win over the Devil Rays. And Schoenweiss deals. He's been wanting to get out of Anaheim for a while. You see Derek's parents recording every moment, putting the scrapbook. That scrapbook must be jammed. Anyway, Schoenweiss wanted to get out of Anaheim because he wanted to return to the starting rotation. And the Angels, he was their only lefty out of the bullpen, so they were somewhat reluctant to do it. Got a lot of family and friends here, does Schoenweiss. He's from New Jersey. And he went to Duke University.
Yeah, was very well known in Anaheim. In fact, he didn't get along with Terry Collins, who was the manager before Mike Scioscia. But Scioscia could not find a spot for him.
That one's popped to right field. Ordonez, one away.
In the rotation, and Schoenweiss was very vocal about the fact that he wanted to start. And that's what precipitated the fact that the Angels traded him to the Chicago White Sox. So I asked Cooper this morning when we were down on the field, I said, was there anything in that trade that promised Schoenweiss that he was going to start here? And he said, absolutely not. He said, we just need a starter, and we think that he's the best guy for the job.
Here's Bernie Williams. He steps in. Bernie missed the first 2 games of the season in Japan because of the after effects of the emergency appendectomy, but he did play the last 2 games in Tampa Bay. Feels fine. He lost 10 pounds because of the surgery. Keeps asking everybody he sees, do you think I've lost weight? And the 0-1. Count levels at 1-1.
We talked about Bernie made that highlight catch yesterday down in the Tropicana Dome, and that was one of the plays that helped save the game for the Yankees. Sheffield won right before that, and Bernie ironed up against the wall in center.
And on deck is Alex Rodriguez, with Rudy Giuliani right behind him. The 1-2. Check swing, and the count levels at 2-2. They check with the first base umpire. Charlie Relaford said no, he didn't go.
Well, there's no let up in this lineup from a pitcher standpoint. I think Kitty will agree that your concentration level has to be at its peak when you face the Yankee lineup.
So Bernie's worked the count full. And the 3-2 pitch. Popped up right side. They'll run out of room and somebody gets a souvenir. Here's the catch that Bobby was talking about yesterday. A great catch by Bernie in his first game in center field. Timed it beautifully and hauled it in. And that came on the heels of a really nice play by Gary Sheffield right before that. Bernie robbed Aubrey Huff, and Robert Fick was robbed by Gary Sheffield. 3-2. There's a ground ball up the middle, and it's off the glove of Harris and trickles into center field. It'll be a base hit for Bernie Williams, and that'll bring up Alex Rodriguez for the first time in the Bronx.
Number 13, Alex Rodriguez, third base. Number 13.
Boy, that's a nice reception walking into the room for the first time. He got a standing ovation.
I think I'd throw him some changeups. He's pretty pumped right now.
You know, that's what's great about the New York fans, that they appreciate what players have done, even though it hasn't been in the pinstripe, but what he has done in baseball throughout this short career of his. And now that he's wearing the pinstripes, they want to let him know that they're behind him all the way.
The reigning MVP won it last year with the Texas Rangers. Right before spring training began, the Yankees acquired him from the Rangers in a trade for Alfonso Soriano. And that was only after Alex Rodriguez agreed to move to third base. And you see last year's voting results. Alex Rodriguez on the last place team won the MVP ahead of Delgado and ahead of Jorge Posada.
I would expect his reception a week from Friday in Boston will be about as loud. It might just have a little different sound to it. There's the high fastball from Schoenweiss.
A-Rod has had 14 home runs in his career here at Yankee Stadium, and he's got great power the other way. And with the short porch in right field, he should take advantage of that. A 1-2, missed inside. 8 of his homers here at the stadium have come to Death Valley, 2 to dead center field, and 4 to right.
Not really Death Valley anymore. It used to be at the old stadium.
Yeah.
It used to be really Death Valley. It's 399 out there now and 408.
It's a chip shot.
It used to be 427 and 463.
Now it's kind of Sick Valley. It's not Death
Well,
Valley.
it's kind of just normal Valley, I guess you would say. But we talked about the trade to see Giambi on deck. This is one of the great trades of all times in the history of baseball, especially for the Yankees. I don't know of any other trade would have the impact for the Yankees other than when Babe Ruth was traded to the Yankees from the Red Sox. Red Sox had their shot and just couldn't get it done. There have been a lot of players already based on what they were talking about. If the A-Rod had gone to Red Sox, it seemed that Magglio Ordonez, who's one of the main cogs in their offense here for the Chicago White Sox, was going to end up in Boston. That's what they were talking about for Garcia Parra.
3-2, fouls it off.
That's all for history now. That was just a conversation.
Come on now, win a battle right here. Let's go.
Looking down at third base coach Rob Thompson, see if Joe Torre decides to send Bernie Williams on the 3-2 pitch. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat, 17th of the inning for Schoenweiss. Bernie stays, the 3-2 outside, and A-Rod walks.
Giambi, first base.
And here's Jason Giambi. Giambi, as you can see, has gotten off to a nice start. credits Yankee batting coach Don Mattingly with re-emphasizing going the other way. He got away from that last year.
Players, hitters, they develop bad habits over the course of years. And Jason Giambi was hurt last year. His left knee was hurt. He wasn't able to drive the ball from his leg standpoint like he had in the past. So he developed a bad habit. When he swung through the ball, or when he was striding, his front foot, when it hit the ground, the back foot collapsed, which caused him to have an uppercut all the time. So he was swinging through a lot of pitches that he couldn't hit. And Don Mattingly has noticed that. And of course, Giambi got his knee fixed over the winter. You don't see that anymore from Giambi. And one of the other things he's doing is laying off the high pitch.
To this point, Mattingly has been well received as the batting coach. The players like him. He has an unbelievable work ethic, and obviously he has the resume that they pay attention to.
Yeah, that's one thing to be a hitting instructor. It's another thing to come as a hitting instructor and have the passion and the work ethic that Mattingly has, along with the history of being in the pinstripes. When he says something, even though this is a murderous row lineup, these guys will listen, and they respect it.
And it's an impressive resume. One of the leaders in all the Yankees' big offensive categories, one of the best defensive first basemen of all time, and this is his first year as a full-time instructor with the Yankees. 3-0. So Sean Weiss really gotten himself into trouble here. He's loaded the bases with an infield single and 2 walks. So bases loaded, 1 out. Gary Sheffield coming up.
Gary Sheffield, right field.
Kenny, this could be some of that mechanical problems that Sean Weiss gets into that Cooper was talking about.
Well, it also could be a little opening day and scouting report-itis, and then after you get men on, you look down and say, well, finally I got somebody down in the lineup, and it's Sheffield. You barely even hear about Gary Sheffield in this lineup, and he's one of the greatest run producers in baseball the last several years.
Bases loaded. Sheffield with 9 career grand slams. And Sean Weiss has lost the plate, and Don Cooper quickly out. When Sean Weiss threw that ball, he looked at his finger.
Well, that's the one thing, as Bobby said, Don Cooper was concerned about. He said Sean Weiss' team tends to be analytical. He doesn't have a real good feel. You know, when we talk about feel, we talk about a David Wells. You know, just has a feel for pitching, about make the hitter get himself out. You can tell Sean Weiss pretty tight right now, and it's not going to get any easier. I got a kick out of Joe Torre talking about this lineup as we look at the last pitch that he hung on to a little bit too much. Joe Torre saying to Giambi and Gary Sheffield and Derek Jeter even, isn't it fun being in this lineup? You know, they didn't even know you're here. All the attention's paid to Alex Rodriguez as far as the pregame hype.
This is the kind of lineup that if you're a hitter, you would pay to play for a team like this and hit in this lineup.
Well, hitters ought to pay to get in the park these days anyway. Well, how about this situation right here? You think he might have kind of an aggressive swing on this pitch if it's a strike?
And he hits a slow roller up the third baseline. It could be trouble. Birdie's in there. Hits an infield single, and the Yankees lead 1-0. Sheffield is living good. That's the 4th infield hit he's gotten so far this year.
I thought maybe Sean Weiss should have let this ball go foul. Maybe he thought it wasn't going to go foul. You can see Bernie coming in from third base. It's one of those swinging bunts, and it's a perfect bunt. And Sean Weiss ran over there thinking that he could throw it over the head of Bernie to Alomar and get him at home, but it wasn't a good play for him. You can see how out of position that Sean Weiss is. I thought maybe it would have rolled foul. Maybe not. A lot of times when you hit on top of the baseball like that, it has that overspin and sends it towards the left side and maybe foul.
Posada lines one to right field. It's deep, going back Ordonez. He makes a nice play and hits into the wall. Tagging is Rodriguez. He'll score. It's a long sac fly for Jorge Posada, and the Yankees lead 2-0.
Well, this is what we've been talking about. Joe's got 4 switch hitters in his lineup, and Posada is one of those. And he's got power from both sides. And Schoenweiss finally found the strike zone, and you can see what happens when you find the strike zone. And Posada darn near knocked in a couple more.
Here's Hideki Matsui. An impressive start for him in last year's home opener with a grand slam. That home run in the final game in Tokyo against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. That squib, nice diving play there by Joe Crede, and he beats Giambi to the bag for the final out of the inning. So a nice play by the White Sox third baseman, taking Matsui's bid for an extra base hit away. So the Yankees take the lead. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, and 2 men left. After 1, 2-0 Yankees. Sox, he has 418 home runs, but no one has more than Henry Aaron. And 30 years ago today.
There's a long drive. Ball's hit deep, deep. It is gone. He did it.
Yes, he did. 715 home runs off Al Downing, and the ball was caught by Tom House in the bullpen. And it was in the 4th inning of the Braves home opener. And the Braves ended up winning that game 7-4. So Hank Aaron still the state's home run leader with 755. Hits to Thomas as a strike.
Downing had pitched for the Yankees back in the 60s. Alfonso Downing, the left-hander.
Bobby, I'm going to see if you can see any similarities when we look at Javier Vasquez. Mentioned a 4-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball, slider, power change. See that high leg kick and then a rather straight up and down finish. I asked Mel Stottlemyre just prior to the season, I said, does he remind you of any pitcher that you've coached? And he thought for a while, and he said his motion resembles Stan Bonson. Now I wonder whether you standing out in the outfield with Stanley Steamer in their pitch. Of course, I know you had a lot of time because Steamer would go 3 and 2 on about every hitter. But he has the exaggerated high leg kick, and the motion, I wouldn't say it's real fluid. It's kind of about 3 parts to it.
About the same size, too, Bonson and Vasquez.
Ground ball left side and through for base hit. Squeezing it between A-Rod and Jeter, so Thomas with a single to start up the 2nd inning.
Usually obviously your opening day pitcher you call your #1 pitcher. This is just a ground ball with Frank Thomas's strength that he gets in a perfect spot from a White Sox standpoint. But, you don't be surprised. There's Kevin Brown, who could be a candidate for a Cy Young and be the leading pitcher, and so could this guy. Yankee fans haven't seen a lot of him yet, but if you looked at the rating the starters in the National League last year, he was in the top 5. 3rd in strikeouts. Mentioned he throws a lot of pitches. Only Barry Zito threw more pitches, and the reason for that, he strikes out a lot of guys, and he goes at this stage, and he's 27 years old, he still goes to some deep counts. He's durable.
I was talking talked to scouts about Vasquez. I've talked to players that played the National League and faced Vasquez, and they all say that, boy, you guys, meaning the Yankees, got a gem. And he should win a lot of games. He said he's as nasty as anybody, and he's got good control of all of his pitches, and they never felt comfortable hitting against him.
He's no stranger to this Yankee Stadium mound. He was actually the opposing pitcher for the Expos against the Yankees when David Cone threw his no-hitter on Yogi Berra Day. Carlos Lee pops it up down the left field line. Jeter giving it a look, so is Matsui, but they run out of room.
Now, Bobby, I don't know how you felt on opening day. Take a look back at Coney's perfecto. Never forget this moment.
I have to be here. In fact, we did the game. Tim McCarver and I did the Cone perfect game, and it was such a surreal event because Don Larson had thrown out the first pitch that day to Yogi Berra.
The 2-1.
And just to go back a year earlier, David Wells had pitched a perfect game. I mean, you could live lifetimes and never see a perfect game. And the Yankees had him back-to-back years. There's Yob, the great Yob. Just not only a legend, you know, around baseball, but he is such one of the most wonderful people you'll ever want to meet.
2-2. Tried to check a swing. He could not. Foul tips it into the glove of Posada, so the second strikeout for Vasquez, the first out of the inning.
That looked like the running fastball. So he got a strikeout on a curve, a strikeout on a running fastball. A lot of pitchers have one put-away pitch. Vasquez has 3 or 4. Bobby, I was mentioning on opening day, I always thought one of the challenges as a pitcher and probably as a player too, after all the festivities and the first inning is over, now you have to kind of say, well, is that all there is? You still got 8 innings to play. You got to keep yourself pumped up for the whole ball game.
Breaking ball strike.
The Yankees do such a great job because opening day today, I mean, the players weren't really bothered that much. I mean, there was tons of media here, tons of people who obviously want to talk to the players. And they kept the players pretty well isolated to give them a chance to prepare for opening day here at Yankee Stadium. A lot of times you can get caught up in that and your time gets away from you and you don't really prepare yourself to start the game.
The press box overflowing today. Members of the Fourth Estate. A lot of them here to see that man and that man. The 1-1. Missed outside.
Right on down the line. And that man.
Yep.
And that man.
That's the type of team it is.
It's humorous and it's almost unbelievable to stand around the batting cage. And there you got Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams, who have been, you know, parts of world championship teams. And it's like nobody's talking to him. They're all talking to Alex Rodriguez. He had his own press conference today. Which I'm sure fans might say, well, there'd be some jealousy there, but I'm sure it makes them a little more relaxed. You know, they've had their share of attention, and the challenge for Alex is going to be to be a new guy coming over to this ball club and the high expectations to be able to perform like that.
It is certainly a galaxy of stars. Amazingly, as Jim said, a lot of them could fly under the radar. The 2-2.
It was almost like the A-Rod trade was meant to happen because it just kind of happened overnight. And the Yankees certainly looking around for a third baseman because of the injury to Boone. And A-Rod wanted to come to New York. The Yankees wanted to make the trade, and so did the Texas Rangers, and they got the deal done. That's the way you make those trades. If you go out to try to do it, it probably won't happen.
Yankees lead 2-0. We're in the top of the second inning. Runner on first base, 1 out. Just missed inside.
Well, you credit Brian Cashman for that. Diligent on the telephone, always thinking of possibilities to better the ball club. There's the pitch just off the inside corner to run the count full. And after about 3 weeks of phone conversations with John Hart and exchanging a few ideas on money and players, it came to fruition.
3-2. He struck him out. 3 strikeouts for Vasquez.
I don't know if that was that changeup or the curveball, but whatever it was a dandy.
It's like he's going to try to get a strikeout on 3 different pitches. That's what he's got. That was what we'd call the power change.
That was after a couple of fastballs, the running fastballs in on the hands, and then all of a sudden you come back with that changeup to throw it outside. You change the batter's eye. I mean, he's looking up, looking inside, sort of, and then you change speeds on him, and he's not able to adjust to it. That's what pitching's all about, is trying to keep the hitter off balance all the time. And the hitter, on the other hand, he wants to stay on balance, and most of the times that he is on balance is when you fall behind in the count. 2 balls and no strikes, 3-1, 3-0.
Well, he's ahead now. 0-2 Vasquez is. He's in a hole.
I don't think you really care if a hitter is way out on his front foot and trying to, lift the ball some way or turning his hands over, because he can't drive the ball on you. So as long as you can keep the hitter off balance, you've done a pretty good job.
And the 0-2 missed outside. Hit sharply to short and just eats up Jeter and goes into left field. Frank Thomas will advance to third. The throw comes into Jeter. That's a base hit for Creedy, and the White Sox are set up. Runners on first and third with 2 outs.
Big sigh of relief for Joe Creedy. He was 0 for 8 on the season. Breaking ball got a bit of the middle of the plate, and this ball was scorched. Derek tried to play it to the side and get the glove down, and right there it takes a little bit of an unusually high hop. I think Derek was looking for that ball to skid more, had the glove down. Most of the time the ball will go under the glove. That one went over.
Wow, they just gave Jeter an error on that.
Really?
So Creedy's 0 for 9.
Ooh,
he doesn't feel good.
Expectations. Always tough.
Aaron Rowan swings and misses.
That may change before
No,
this game is
I
over
don't
with.
see an error up there.
It just said E6.
Oh, really?
Yep. I don't think the scoreboard believes it, but I just heard him say E6. Popped up. Right field. Sheffield back. On the lip of the warning track, he puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs, 2 hits, or maybe 1 hit and 1 error, and 2 men left. Some of the sights and sounds of opening day, the home opener here at Yankee Stadium. Of course, they're smiling. Yankees are leading 2-0.
Well, I saw Bob walk in the stadium today with his son Chris, and as soon as I said, it's opening day. Bob Shepard's here, and you hear that voice. It sounds the same as it did in 1951. Of course, I wasn't here in 51, but it sounds the same as it did in 61.
Yeah,
which
you
was
should have
my,
been.
which was my first experience on opening day in Yankee Stadium.
Now, the man who made the scoring decision, that was an E6, is Bill Shannon. Been around the stadium forever, and when he said E6, about 6 people ran over to the scoring booth over there, and they're arguing with him, but they did change it on this bill, and he thought it was an E6. He thought it's a play that Jeter should have made. A tough play, tough error.
Bill said, hey, you know, the guys making 17, 18 million. It's the big leagues. Supposed to catch those.
Most of the time, you know, when the ball is hit at you and you don't glove it, that ball was scorched, so
yeah.
they a lot of times will give you an error because they think you should have it.
And Sierra goes down on strikes.
We're talking about opening day memories in 1961. That was the first game in the history of the Minnesota Twins. And that was my first opener in the stadium. I've been to the stadium before that, but just to show you how much more popular the game has become. That opener, Pedro Ramos shut out the Yankees 6-0. There were 14,000 plus people in the stands on opening day, 2 of which were Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
1961, but here, you know, we talk 55,000 every year now. That I can't imagine an opening day in New York with only 14,000 people. And in those days, most of them had shirts, ties, and top coats on, right?
And hats.
Yeah.
Well, times have changed. This is now one of the hottest tickets in this city. Last year, 3.5 million. This year, they expect more than that. Bobby said an advance sale, tickets already sold this year, about 3 million people.
Which is way ahead of last year.
Oh, it's the most ever.
And they normally sell about 1 million tickets during the course of the year. If that's the case, they could be selling out every game.
Nice diving stop by Creedy across the diamond, and a nice scoop by Konerko. Take a base hit away from Enrique Wilson.
One of the things that the White Sox have wanted to work on is their defense. But Joe Creedy at third base, he just seems to get better and better every year. And what a fine play he makes here at third base. The old reaction position, but to go to your knees and almost to the prone position to get back up and throw out a speedy runner, you got to have a good arm. And that's the reason they want a guy at third base with a good, strong arm. Nice play.
Pitch to Jeter is a strike. Jeter flew out to right field in the first inning. Yankees lead 2-0. 2 runs in that first inning. An infield RBI single by Sheffield and a sac fly by Jorge Posada, and that's where we stand. Yankees behind Javi Vasquez.
That's the reason that Jeter wears that shin guard on his left foot, is because he hits on top of a lot of balls and he fouls them down on his shin. If he didn't have that shin guard on now, he'd be over there. Gene Monahan would be out there working on that swollen shin he is.
And that one almost jumped up and hit him in the mug.
You ever wear a shin guard?
You know, I think I did.
You know, years ago, the only hitter I recall wearing one regularly was the late Vic Wertz. I've always tried to figure out why today so many more hitters, whether it's because they're low ball hitters, lighter bats, whether it's split finger fastballs or cutters, but years ago hitters just didn't foul the ball off their feet that much.
I don't even remember the Yankees having a shin guard for a hitter in the early days. And the one time that I wore it, Oscar Gamble had one, because he used to foul a lot of balls off of his shin. And the trainer just happened to have one, and I used it.
Well, the shin guard works as Jeter lines a single left field, 2-out single. By the way, in case you both are wondering, I'm wearing a shin guard right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
You should. Yeah. You should wear a catcher's chest protector too.
See Derek take a pitch from Shonowai's middle, in and down, and that's a dangerous zone. Left-hand pitcher to right-hand hitter. And Charles and Dorothy, did you get that in the camera? Not in the camera, but they appreciate it.
They've seen a lot of great moments.
A lot more to come.
The Yankee captain leads off first. And the pitch to Bernie Williams outside. Along with Bobby Mercer and Jim Cott, I'm Michael Kay. And you are watching the home opener from Yankee Stadium between the Yankees and the White Sox right here on CBS 2. We thank you for joining us. Full house here at the stadium. I'm sure full houses around the tri-state areas. You crowd around the TV to watch the Yankees open their home season here in the Bronx.
Well, opening day for everybody is almost as close as you can get to a World Series game or a playoff game atmosphere. Especially here at Yankee Stadium, but for a lot of teams that don't have a whole lot of hope of going that far, opening day is that type of atmosphere for them. And of course, early in the year, everybody has a chance. You're not 22 games behind the leader. With a lot of hope and a lot of enthusiasm.
Willie Randolph, the Yankee bench coach, he said the best way I could put it, he said, it's the day before Christmas. He said that's the feeling you have.
You talk about hope, Bobby, and your good friend, the next teammate, Lou Piniella, as Ozzie Guillen, the new White Sox manager, looks on. We heard that from him. I mean, they're in Tampa Bay after that opening night win. They're enthused. I mean, you'd think they had hopes of, of winning the American League East, but that's the fun thing about the start of the season. Everybody's got a fresh start and high hopes.
Well, the hope for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays is the fact that they really don't know how good they can be. I mean, they've got so many young players down there. If they continue to progress, and they are a better ball club this year than they were last year, and certainly a better offensive club.
Let's see if they green light Bernie.
There's not many times that you would get the green light as a second place hitter on a ball club, but Bernie Williams could certainly get the green light here. On the other hand, there's a lot of guys that don't like to hit 3-0. It puts too much pressure on them. They feel like if they don't succeed, they've failed. Well, obviously they have failed, but they don't like to think that they have to succeed every time they got a chance to hit 3-0.
So you didn't like a 3-0 green?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Oh, absolutely. Because when I hit 3-0, I looked for a certain pitch in a certain area. If I didn't get it, I didn't swing it. Had to be a certain height. I nailed it down pretty tight.
And Bernie walks. So runners on first and second for Alex Rodriguez.
The third baseman, Alex Rodriguez.
The way you are with 3-0 counts, that's the way you are in restaurants, too. Very picky.
Wow. Told you he needs a chest protector. He's got the shin guards on right now.
A-Rod walked in his Yankee Stadium Yankee debut in the first inning, came around to score. Sean Weiss deals. Popped up right side of the infield. Konerko near the seats, leaning in. Can't make the play. Wasn't sure where the wall was.
Yeah, that's a break right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been frustrating for A-Rod and for the Yankees. We saw it on opening night against Victor Zambrano. He walked 7. I mean, that's a play that you say, well, it isn't an automatic, but it's a ball that certainly could have been caught by either Konerko or Harris, the second baseman. And a little sigh of relief, gets a second chance. The Yankees have not done a good job so far of capitalizing on these base on balls, these opportunities they've had that the opposing pitcher has given them.
There was a stretch between games 3 and 4 in Tampa Bay when they had 9 walks that they didn't convert into a run. He will never misplace his shoe. The 1-1.
Well, boy, he's there. Sean Weiss is there for the taking right now. He is just what Don Cooper, his pitching coach, said. He is a kind of a Mike Messina's much more successful pitcher, but a version of that. He's very analytical. You can tell he's very tentative, deep counts. He is not in control of his game right now.
He may already be looking over to the on-deck circle thinking, well, I'll go ahead and walk the bases full and take my chances with Giambi, the left-hander.
That'd be a little dangerous
Well,
against this lineup, looking to the on-deck circle, because they never get any easier. Poor Enrique Wilson, he's down there, and he's the only guy the opposition says, well, we finally got an out man, right?
3-1. Bases loaded. Now, Jim, do you think he's wild or he's just afraid to throw strikes at this team?
No, I think he's, I don't know if I'd use the word afraid. I think, pitchers use that, well, I just wasn't making my pitches. They get a little bat shy, and you see a guy yesterday like Paul Abbott who's had a ton of injuries, and he comes out there with a high 80 fastball and a changeup, throws strikes, and he pitches a no-hitter for 5 innings. Sometimes it's easy for pitchers and hitters, and we all been guilty of it, to make it a little tougher on yourself than it really is.
Maybe tentative is the right word.
Defensive.
Bases loaded for Giambi. Line drive to right center field, giving chases Ordonez. He's there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Giambi hit it on the screws, and Sean Weiss gets out of trouble. No runs, a hit, no errors, and the bases are left loaded. We play 2 here at Yankee Stadium for the home opener. Yankees lead 2-0 right here on CBS 2. Viggo Mortensen, music from Sting, and Biff goes on a cruise tonight on The Late Show, right after CBS 2 News at 11.
How could it be a surprise visit by Bill Murray now?
I was thinking the same thing, Bobby. We kind of ruined the surprise, didn't we?
Really. Maybe it's a surprise for all the non-baseball fans.
That's right. Everyone not watching the Yankee game will be surprised. Pitch to Sandy Alomar Jr. is a strike. Got off to a good start.
Yeah, this is probably one team, the White Sox, that are disappointed that the Yankees either traded away or lost some of their left-hand starters. I mean, this is a team loaded with good right-hand hitters for Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie Guillen, his first year as manager, of course, was Rookie of the Year for the White Sox. There was some question as to, why they picked him. But when you talk to the White Sox people, and I go back to even the Florida Marlins manager Jack McKeon and ex-big leaguer Doug Rader, who broke in when Ozzie was still with the Padres.
Alomar with a weak hack and strikeout number 4 for Vasquez.
A 4th different look, too. I mean, that wasn't it didn't look like the power. It looked like he took a lot off.
Curveball.
Yeah. So the White Sox hitters are going back now saying, oh, wait a minute. He struck out with a fastball, then a curve, then a power change, now an off-speed curve. A lot of weapons.
Talking about Guillen being in his managerial position for the very first time, Joe Nosick, who had been sitting on the bench and being the bench coach of the White Sox for so many years, he is no longer there. I think he left for personal reasons. So they brought in Harold Baines.
Right.
And you know, being a first-year manager, I mean, I think you need a veteran guy that, I mean, I think you'd feel more comfortable with a veteran guy sitting next to you like a Joe Nozick, but Nozic's not there anymore. So Harold Baines now is the bench coach for Guillen.
Well, what Doug Rader made comment of, he said what Ozzie, when he came over, he didn't speak a lot of English. He was so eager to learn English so he could communicate and learn the game. Jack McKeon said the same thing. There's Harold Baines, the bench coach. But all of the White Sox say now they're having fun. Even like Frank Thomas, he said we're having fun playing baseball. They had a tough opening night loss where Ozzie had a tough decision to make and whether to bring in Billy Koch or leave in Billy Koch, and it backfired and they lost. And they said, boy, he was in that clubhouse afterwards. Hey, we'll get him tomorrow. You know, very positive and enthusiastic.
Well, the Yankees have A-Rod, and now CBS 2 has Roz A. When Roz Abrams joins Ernie Anastas on CBS 2 News. So if you liked her at 5, you'll love her at 5 and 11 starting April 19th. A-Rod to Abrams to Anastas. It's a CBS 2 triple play. New addition to CBS 2.
Bobby, you talked about Joe Nozick, the longtime White Sox bench coach who was a teammate of mine in the mid-'60s. You don't hear too often of coaches that have to retire from the game because they can't lift their suitcase anymore. But Joe is beset by a lot of shoulder problems, couldn't throw batting practice, bad knees. And so physically, I mean, there's a guy who was a bench coach. He said, I just had to retire. Couldn't stand the travel anymore. I always enjoy Harold Baines because the base hit gets a little sharper every time. He got his first big league hit off me. So every time I see him, it was a line drive. Well, it was a little farther than what we thought it was at first.
Fly ball, right field. Sheffield coming in. 2-away.
Who'd you get your first one off?
Jim Duckworth with the Washington Senators.
Center ball pitcher.
Yeah.
That big, tall righty.
Right here at Yankee Stadium. No, it wasn't either. It was at RFK Stadium in Washington. But my point being that Harold Baines, he doesn't have the experience as a bench coach right now. I mean, he's got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge as far as baseball is concerned. And if you know Baines, he's not one of those guys that talks a lot. So, you know, you don't get a whole lot out of him. But I guess when he does speak, he's got something to say.
Of course, with Ozzie over there, you don't have to speak a lot.
Well, that's true. You're right about that. Ozzie does a lot of talking.
You see Ozzie in this 4-game series. He's very, very animated on that bench.
Last year, the third base coach for the world champion Florida Marlins. He's the second youngest manager in baseball, the age of 40. Indians' Eric Wedge is the youngest at 36. Broken bat. And that's a line drive foul into the seats. And there's the Yankees' new bench coach, Willie Randolph. Kitty and I were talking to him last night, and he said, you got to fight to stay in the game. He said, usually as a third base coach, you know, you're into every single place, and now you're sitting on the bench. He said, I'm just talking so much to Joe. He said, sooner or later, Joe's going to tell me to shut up.
I asked him how it was going. He said the day before the game, he said, you know, it's going pretty good. He said, I'm learning. I'm getting in there.
Throws a few ideas out.
You know, Bobby, I think you're being a little modest. We found out that that home run was also your first big league hit. What a way to break in.
That's right, yeah.
Really?
With Bobby Richardson on at first base. 2-run shot.
Yeah, 2-run shot.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that ball back?
No, they didn't do that in those days. We went out of the stadium, Michael.
The O2.
Just kidding.
That's right. I remember that. I was coming home from grade school, and I heard that on the radio. Bobby got his first hit. It was a home run.
Look, my hair it may look gray, but it's actually black. I just do this
right.
for television.
That's right. I know you. I heard that. For effect.
It's a good look.
Very good, too.
They want a mature look up here.
They got it. They might have gotten him. They did. Vasquez picks off Harris. Nice quick move from a right-hander. And Ozzie Guillen, who worked extensively with Harris very early in the morning in spring training, cannot be too thrilled. He was leaning, and a good throw and a good tag by Giambi, getting him on the right shoulder. We go to the bottom of the third. It's Yankees CBS 2, White Sox nothing.
Chevy, we sell more.
Work hard, fly right. And by Jeep, trail rated capability, only in a Jeep 4x4. Some of the trappings of opening day, the bunting, red, white, and blue bunting on the facing of the upper deck. Monument Park, visited by a lot of the fans before the game. It is Yankee Stadium. It is baseball, and it is the home office. Yankees lead 2-0, bottom of the third inning. And Gary Sheffield leads off, pitch away. Yankees also, on the flagpole out in left center field, have their American League pennant flying just under the American flag. 39th American League pennant for the Yankees, and they lost in 6 games in the World Series to the Marlins last year. And the 2-0. Popped up, shallow right field. Willie Harris is there, one away. '26-time world champions. More than any other team in professional sports. The next closest pursuer in baseball is 13 championships.
Cardinals?
And that's the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Jorge Posada.
See, only the Montreal Canadiens, right? Or how many Stanley Cups do they have?
I think they have 24.
Was it 24? Oh, it was 24, 25.
High fly ball left field. Carlos Lee. 2 away.
I was just thinking about how special opening day is, in particular at the stadium, and maybe a baseball probably wouldn't do it because we saw what a prolonged opening series we had this year, going over to Japan, which was, I'm sure, a success financially, but and business-wise, but certainly not practical. Yogi was there. Is maybe the teams that win the pennant, they get to play the first game, and then everybody else starts the second day.
Not a bad idea.
And a day game. And if you win the pennant and you're in an indoor stadium, too bad. The next team gets it. It's got to be outdoors, afternoon, on the grass.
I'll go for that every day.
Yeah, and then teams break camp. They come up. They have a day off for to get settled. And they have all their media luncheons and welcome home. And then the next day is opening day. Get it started right.
Well, you're going to like the next, 5 of the next 6 games for the Yankees are day games.
Beautiful.
Today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. Monday's an off day. Tuesday's a night game, and Wednesday's a day game.
I know one thing from a hitter standpoint. I always saw, and even in the outfield, I always saw the ball better in the daytime than I did at nighttime. With the exception of when the shadows, got in between the pitcher and the hitter.
Matsui with a high fly ball to center field. Aaron Rowan is there, and he'll put it away. So how about that? A 1-2-3 inning for Scott Schoenweiss. Well, we played 3 here at the stadium. It's the Yankees 2 and the White Sox nothing. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Deuce. Hideki Matsui puts his stamp on the Yankees with his first major league home run, a grand slam into the right field bleachers. This home run sealed his spot in the Yankees lineup and became another Yankees landmark moment. Let's take a look. It was certainly not as nice a day a year ago today. It had snowed the previous evening. It was cold, but it was a hot day for Hideki Matsui. And this look back has been brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. The 0-1 to Ordonez. Remember that day, Bobby, how Kitty had on the Yes sweatshirt?
Oh,
with
yes.
The hood up.
He was.
That's
I'm a soft
look.
He was
down south.
He was styling in the cold weather. Let's put it that way. We couldn't see his tie, though.
There's a ground ball to second. Wilson's there. 1 away.
As I look at Javier Vasquez, I think how fortunate the Yankees are with their pitchers if they all stay healthy. I mean, there's a certain look that a #1 pitcher has. I mean, first of all, he just looks like, hey, I'm in control of the game. I'm going to dictate what happens. You know, there's no tentativeness like we've seen from the White Sox starter today. And both Kevin Brown and Javier Vasquez bring that to the mound for the Yankees.
Frank Thomas flinched at the breaking ball, took it for a strike.
That's what you call a knee-buckling breaking ball.
Yankees got Vasquez from the Expos, and you'll take a look at that knee buckler.
Jelly leg, the old jelly leg, huh?
Yankees sent Nick Johnson, Juan Rivera, and Randy Choate to the Expos. Nick Johnson's on the DL with a bad bat. They traded Randy Choate already. And Juan Rivera is the only thing that the Expos have at this point for Javi Vasquez.
Yeah, Choate went to the Diamondbacks.
Yes. Now, Javi Vasquez, when he got here, he negotiated a 4-year deal with the Yankees. And while people were questioning, gee, I wonder how he's going to like New York if he like pitching in front of big crowds, he said, I never thought about it. He said, I know I'm going to love pitching here. He said, I never said, well, let me pitch a couple months to see if I like it before I sign the deal. He said, let's sign right now. So he's hooked up for 4 years.
Looks like he likes it.
Well, you take a look at everything that he brings. I mean, there's not anything. You talk to, as we mentioned, I talked to the scouts. I talked to players who played against him last year. You look at his stats. There's nothing in there that says anything bad about Vasquez, other than the fact you say, well, how can he handle New York? Well, I mean, if you got the confidence in yourself and you're happy to be at a place, how can you not thrive? I think Vasquez is primed for a huge year for the Yankees.
I think the impressive thing today is Posada has a little chat with him about how they want to go at Frank Thomas. Is here the guy is making his Yankee debut on opening day. I think the only other pitcher to do that was Catfish Hunter, and Catfish was an experienced pitcher by then. And he's thrown 11 of 14 first pitch strikes. That's kind of the sign as you look at the bio on Javier. You know, if you're a little bit nervous or tentative like Schoenweiss is today, you're falling behind in the count. He's shown none of that.
Another question that people had when the Yankees acquired him, because when a trade is made, you want to analyze it to death. Good points,
No
bad
kidding.
points. And they said, well, you know, if you look at his record against American League teams, it's not very good.
Was it 0-1?
Well, in interleague play, his ERA is much higher than his ERA against National League. And he had a great answer. He said, I played for the Expos. We didn't exactly have scouts at every game. He said, so I wasn't armed with all this information about how to go at these guys. He said, and it was a little different for me. So I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. So he walks Frank Thomas.
Very disappointing walk right there. Anytime a pitcher gets 0-2, and we're going to look at how Vasquez went at him. Strike, that's the knee buckler. Then another curve. Now he's up 0-2. Now he's trying to make a perfect pitch. That's a good one there. Now here Posada said, how you want to do this one? Comes out to the mound. They try to blow him off the plate with a fastball. Didn't work, and then he missed again.
Carlos Lee nubs one in front of the plate. Posada makes the call, fires to first. Wow. And a nice play by Giambi. A dangerous one at that as Thomas goes to second.
Dangerous is right. Every time I see a play like that, I flash back to Hall of Famer Harmon Killebrew, who missed about 6 weeks because of this. The catcher's job, get rid of it as quickly as you can. He cannot always throw it so accurately, and you see that left arm becomes exposed. Any kind of contact there, you end up with a separated shoulder, and Giambi makes a nice pick and gets his arm out of the way just in time.
Yeah, the catcher is normally used to going up over the top to throw down to second base. Posada had to throw it sidearm, and when you throw it sidearm, you get that tailing action, and that's what happened. Yeah, you just cringe every time you see that first baseman stick his arm out extended like that with a runner coming down the baseline.
Konerko hits one down the left field line. That's going to be trouble. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Cutting over is Matsui. He'll field the ball in the corner. Frank Thomas scores. It's an RBI single for Paul Konerko. The White Sox are on the board. Yankees lead 2-1.
Paul Konerko killed the Yankees last year. He is a .375 hitter. And he's continuing to do that today. Down the left field line. By the time Matsui gloves it, gets it back into the infield, the big hurt. All the way from first base will score on this and put the White Sox on the board.
There's a ground ball by Creedy. A-Rod goes the short way, and that'll do it here in the fourth. White Sox on the board. 1 run, 1 hit. Up on the facing of Yankee Stadium, I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee. Joe DiMaggio said it. He said it back in 1949. And a couple of those signs are around Yankee Stadium, and as I said, right outside this famous ballpark, which opened up in 1923. Joseph Paul DiMaggio, and that is what we have from today's quote book, brought to you by your local Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Pitch to Sierra's outside. 2-1 Yankees lead.
I was say a lot of guys can fall in line behind that statement. But it has certainly gotten better over the last about the last 10 years. I mean, there were some times when the Yankees had problems enticing players to come from the free agency market to play here in New York. But now it's they want to come. I mean, they built that tradition again, and players know that if they're going to have a chance to really move on to the playoffs and World Series, the ultimate goal, once they've gotten their money, I mean, that's what they want to do. And Mr. Steinbrenner and this organization gives them that chance every year.
And you know what? The fans who are turning out record numbers are appreciative of it, because George Steinbrenner was actually on the pregame show on CBS 2, and he was out in left field by the left field bleachers talking to Warner Wolf, Daner Tyler, and Ernie Anastas, and the crowd in left center field, the bleacher creatures in left center field, started chanting, "Thank you, George. Thank you, George." So they are appreciative of the stars that have been made their way here.
And it touched him.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Of course, now that he's been on CBS 2, I'm assuming we can get him on Yes.
You would think, right?
Yeah, Yankee Entertainment Sports Network.
I will tell you this, that the first time I ever met Mr. Steinbrenner was back in 1973 when he took over this ball club.
Oh, nice play by Ballantine, one away.
And one of the first things that he said to me was that New York deserves a world championship, the history of this franchise, and we'll do everything that we can in our power to bring back the world champions to the Bronx and to New York City, because the people of this state and this city deserve it.
Well, he bought the team in '73, and the World Championship was brought back in 1977 with a 6-game win against the Dodgers. Here's Enrique Wilson. So it's up to you then, Jim, to ask George Steinbrenner to be on the air.
I'll be happy to. You know, then there was that glitch, like Bobby is saying. There was that little time when all free agents did was use the Yankees' money. Wow. Shot there by Enrique. You know, there was a time when, like Greg Maddux, for example, they used the appeal of the Yankees' money to jack up the price and go elsewhere. They didn't. George did not have a good reputation for being a fun owner to play for. I don't know if we'd still put the word fun with him, but like Bobby said, now with the Joe Torre era, and George is putting, I think, a lot more trust in the baseball people, and now all of a sudden it's very appealing to be a part of the New York Yankees, more so than it was, I would say, back in the 80s.
Joe Torre has taken his team to 6 World Series, won 4 of them, and the atmosphere around the team is one that winning is expected and obviously embraced by the players. So Enrique Wilson picks up a single. You know, we talk about Joe DiMaggio's quote, "I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee," and Bobby, I know, appreciative of his time here as well. The other day, George Steinbrenner got a phone call from Roger Clemens, and he just called to tell him, "I want to thank you for the 5 years I had in New York." And then Clemens had some night last night.
Yes, he did.
9 punch-outs.
1 hit.
Yeah.
And you knew, we talked about this yesterday, Jim. There's no way he wanted to give up Bond's 660th home run.
Struck him out twice.
Bonds' quote was, Roger and I know what happened in that 2 strikeouts. That was his quote in the paper.
Really?
Yeah. That was his quote.
He wouldn't tell anybody else what happened. They have him picked off. The throw to second is In time, so Schoenweiss with a good left-hander's move picks off Wilson. You score that 1-3-6.
One of the best at this was Tino Martinez for a right-hand first baseman. Check out Konerko. He's going to come to meet the throw, and that's what enables him to get it to Valentin, where he gets a good look at the throw. Isn't shielded by the runner. Perfectly executed play.
The 1-1 to Jeter. Tomorrow it's a two-sport doubleheader on Yes. First, the Yankees take on the White Sox. Coverage starts at 3:30 with the pregame. Then join Bobby Mercer, Jim Cotton, me with all the action beginning at 4. Then after the Yankees postgame, the Eastern Conference champion Nets visit Indiana to take on the Pacers. Game times 8, complete coverage, and Nets coverage, Yankees and Nets, begins tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 only on Yes. And a nice play by Willie Harris as he guns down Jeter for the final out of the 4th. No runs, a hit, no errors, and because of the caught stealing, nobody is left on base. We played 4 innings at the home opener at Yankee Stadium. And it's the Yankees 2, the White Sox 1. You're watching CBS 2. Best prices, best places guaranteed. Next 3 games against the White Sox right here at the stadium. 4:05 tomorrow, then 1:05 starts on Saturday and Sunday. All on Yes, and the pregame show starts a half hour before each game on Yes. So, Kitty, got 3 opportunities now to ask George Steinbrenner to be on with us.
Well, if not, then I bet we could get him on first week of May. If he doesn't want to talk baseball, we'll get his derby pick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Starting to push it back already.
Yeah, he's already backing off.
No, I'm not.
I know Kitty. He's going to just go in there now and ask.
Yeah, you better wear the shin guard.
Are you working out your derby pick at this point?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, we got big weekend of prep races first.
Pop up by Rowan. Right side of the infield. Wilson's there. 1 down.
This keeps up. The Yankee fans here with the home opener will get a chance to see really the important parts of this ball club. All the the pregame hype about A-Rod and the introduction of the lineup and so forth. But when it comes to winning the games, the way Vasquez is pitching right now, you get into the 7th inning, we're going to see that guy Flash Gordon and Paul Quantrill, and then Mariano Rivera. It was Gordon and Mariano that closed it out last night. That's really the difference between the Yankees and your average ball club. Is they've got some. I mean, they have a guy like Tom Gordon who could have got big money to close for a lot of ball clubs. And he wanted to come here and be a setup man just to have a chance to be a part of a winning team.
That's what we were just talking about a while ago. It's one thing to have free agents. Another thing that have free agents do certain things that tells you that they want to come and play for your club. It was a very important part of the White Sox last year. And of course, they lost Colon too. I mean, so they've lost 2 good arms. They've got a lot of power. They hit 220 home runs last year. That's a franchise record for them. And they're in a division that, 85, 86, 87, maybe 88 wins could win that Central Division.
Line drive hit sharply on 1 hop to Jeter. That'll do it for the 2nd out of the inning.
We talk about a feel for pitching, not only having the stuff, but there's another example. I mean, he's very aware, Vasquez is, of the power of these right-hand hitters of the White Sox have, and there he took something off that curveball again. So he's showing them not only 4 outstanding pitches, but he also has the ability to change speeds on his breaking ball, so you can turn that into 5 or 6 pitches.
The left field bleacher view as Willie Harris digs in, runs the hands up the bunt, and there's a strike. Looks like the Yankees got another pretty good pitcher in the uniform number 33. This year, though, it's a little less filled out. That was David Wells' number. David now with the San Diego Padres. And David picked up his 200th win at the end of the season last year with the Yankees.
And that perfect game.
And now the Yankees have 2 pitchers on their staff with 199 wins. Kevin Brown picked up his 199th yesterday. And Mike Messina's been sitting on 199 over 4 starts.
Talking about how dissatisfied Kevin Brown is unless it's just absolutely perfect. When I talked to him in the clubhouse this afternoon, I went to congratulate him about his win yesterday. And all he could talk about was, it's a good thing we had some defense yesterday. It's a good thing we had some defense yesterday because I made some pretty bad pitches.
Now he is a perfectionist. The 2-2. Hit the short. Jeter across the diamond, and a 1-2-3 inning for Javi Vasquez. 1-2-3 on a very cold day. But 1981, though, Bobby Mercer comes off the bench and hits a pinch hit grand slam. Oh, Bobby, what a moment. I was in the upper deck. I'm beaming for my idol.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't come to me yet. I don't have my stool. Yeah, just show me. Yeah, there we go.
That was a great moment.
It was a good moment. It really was.
81?
1981.
Steve Comer.
Steve Comer, the Texas Rangers. I knew he was a sinker ball pitcher. You know, Comer was always working the ball down and away, down and away. I just kind of moved up to the plate a little bit and thought I could hook one out there.
Yeah.
That was Stick, right? Who called you off the bench?
Stick, yeah.
G. Michael, the Yankee manager.
Yeah, I put down my hot dog and everything to go up and hit. I love Stick. I was just trying to keep his job, you know.
Right back to Vasquez. And there's one away. Now, we also dug back in the archives because we made Bobby feel good by showing the grand slam. And Kenny in Japan, and one of the guys with Kenny in Japan, Kenny Singleton, our broadcast partner there on the right. Look at that hat, Bobby.
Retro.
What's that about?
Are you kidding me?
We dug into the archives.
What was that?
Well,
Like a traveling all-star team?
Well, yeah, that was the all-star team that we took over there to play the Japanese all-stars, as a matter of fact.
Was that back in 1930, I think?
I don't know what that hat was.
Pitch to Ordonez is lined into right, coming on. Sheffield makes the play. 2 away.
Are you sure that was a real hat?
You had it on that head of yours.
I think.
Look at it.
Yeah.
You look
Started
good, though,
wearing those
Bobby.
in the
I can't
mid-70s.
believe that. I'd much rather see my eyes. You know, this is taken away from my eyes that Michael likes so much.
Did you like that trip? Did you have a good time?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful trip.
Here's Frank Thomas. And there's a strike.
Boy, this guy being Vasquez, this is impressive. I mean, this team could have an awful lot of fun this year when you see the pitchers like that go out there. The lineup has not started to hit their stride yet. You know they're going to just destroy mediocre pitching. I mean, Schonewight's done a good job today bouncing back from that shaky first couple innings, but you have a guy like Messina who's pitched over 200 innings 9 straight years. Vasquez has done it 5 years. If Brown is healthy, Contreras could have a breakout year. There's a lot of ifs, but like I say, if all those things happen, I mean, there was some questions, and I would certainly question the depth of the Yankee rotation, but with everybody being healthy, you could see the possibility of what it could be.
You know what I see is the big difference this year as compared to last year, too, is their bullpen. How much better their bullpen is on the starting day this year than it was last year.
Michael's pointed out often 19 different relievers last year. And this year, when you get, as a starter, you get through another inning or two, you got some quality guys down there to go to.
Well, they could just never get the right combination going, and this year they have that.
Hit sharply to third. A-Rod Fields now guns him down for the final out of the inning. 7 in a row for Vasquez at the end of 5.5, a 9-pitch inning for Vasquez. Give that some thought as we go to break. 2-1 Yankees.
His cell phone in the stands and not in the end zone like they tend to do down the NFL.
Like Joe Horn.
They've stopped that now, haven't they?
Yeah.
And there's America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, watching the Yankees in a front row seat. Sheffield grounds it to Ballantine. Nice play to the glove side. And both of the pitchers have been impressive in these middle innings.
Well, so is the defense, too.
Yeah.
I mean, both clubs have hit the ball hard, and we've seen some great plays, especially on the infield. That ball was scalded pretty good, but Valentin at shortstop, you see he gets that nice high hop. That's the one that you look for all the time, especially on the infield.
Yankees lead 2-1. And here's Posada against Schoenweiss.
Be interesting to see if it keeps up how long Ozzie Guillen, Don Cooper, the pitching coach, will go with Schoenweiss. Guy hasn't started a game in 2 years. But the way he's pitching right now, I know they'd be a little hesitant to go down to that bullpen in the 7th inning.
Meanwhile, Schoenweiss has set down 11 out of the last 12 Yankees.
And that pitch right there was his 87th.
Oh, he can go a while, yeah.
He'd go another 40 pitches, can he?
I would think so.
He's made 98 consecutive relief appearances. And he threw 19 1/3 innings in spring training.
Look, this is what Schoenweiss has wanted to do for about 2 years. I mean, he's wanted to get back out on the mound, be a starter, know what he's going to do every 5 days. So he's also trying to prove something to Cooper and Guillen and say, look, you got the right guy in your 5-man rotation.
Right now, Posada's sac fly in the first inning is the difference in this game as the Yankees lead 2-1. And the Yankees had the bases loaded on that sac fly. He really hit the ball a long way, and Ordonez ran it down. And the game could have been broken open, and Schoenweiss could have been showered by now if that ball had gotten over the head of Maglio Ordonez. 2-2. Count 3-2.
If you analyze the Yankee lineup with all the power that you see up and down this lineup, you normally think, well, they're free swingers, you know, and you can get them out on pitches because they're trying to hit the ball in the ballpark every time. Not so with the Yankees. A very patient hitting ball club. You look at Bernie Williams, how patient he is. A-Rod is patient. Giambi is certainly patient. Sheffield is patient. Matsui is patient.
I'd say probably the freest swinger they have in their lineup is Enrique Wilson.
Enrique Wilson.
But what Schoenweiss is showing today, that percentage has improved a lot right now. The ball strike percentage, as Giambi talks hitting with Donnie baseball, is no matter how great a lineup you throw up there of all-stars, they make 7 outs out of 10. If you throw strikes and make your pitches, we saw it with Paul Abbott last night. Now Schoenweiss after the first inning today.
Posada had broken his bat, so he has a new piece of lumber against Scott Schoenweiss. And he uses it to hit a deep fly ball to left field. Lee back on the track, looking up. See ya! A long home run to left center field here at the stadium for Jorge Posada. And the Yankees lead 3-1.
A guy that was hitting 8th in the lineup just a day or so ago. Jorge Posada with power from both sides of the plate, and that he when that ball left his bat, you knew it was gone. It was one of those, no doubt about it. That certainly makes the hitting instructor the hit man. He had plenty of those himself in his day.
Here's the 1-0 to Matsui. There's a strike. Third home run for Posada. The other 2 came in one game, one from the right side, one from the left. Bobby mentioned Posada in the 2 games against Tampa Bay batted 8th. No complaints whatsoever. He actually joked about it as Matsui goes down looking and said, that's just the second cleanup spot in this lineup. And that's what the Yankees expect of their players. Job 1 is to win, and you just win whichever way you win. And if you have to bat 9th, or you have to bat 2nd, or you have to DH, or you have to play center field, pretty much have to accept it.
Well, the only time, like as a lead, we talked about as a leadoff hitter, the only time you might lead off is when you lead off the game.
Yeah, Billy Barton, when Don Larson pitched, Casey Stengel a lot of times would bat Billy ninth. But Larson was a better hitter.
Sierra just hit a knuckleball to Valentin, and it goes past him for a base hit. Valentin actually took a full step to his right, and the ball kind of made a right-hand turn after hitting the dirt. Very odd. Had a lot of English on it.
Here's what Michael's talking about. Sierra reaches out, has that knuckleball spin on it, and I think right off the end of the bat, Valentin thought it was hit a little harder than it was, and it actually sailed back the other way out of the reach of his glove.
That's a good point, Kitty. He thought it was hit a little bit harder than what it really was because he took the full swing and it kind of hesitated just for a second, but that spin got him.
Enrique Wilson with a single. He's 1 for 2 today.
Talking about Martin hitting ninth. A lot of times Martin would take the lineup card and turn it around, turn it upside down so he'd be leading off.
Same place as the other base hit, right to center field. So Enrique Wilson's 2 for 3 as Sierra stops at second.
Bullpen should get ready now. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been up before this. There's a pitch out over the plate. Enrique takes right back through the middle. Second hit of the game is Schoenweiss has given them 5 good innings, plus the fact that he hasn't started for a while. You figure he might, we were kidding about the fact he could throw 120, 125 pitches. You'd figure he'd be getting about to the end of it right there, and Don Cooper's going to come out and buy a little more time for their bullpen to get up.
Neil Kotz looks like he's about ready to start. Young left-hander. Let me ask you guys something. We said at the opening of the show that on opening day there's adrenaline. You're really, really pumped up. At what point in the game do you crash from that adrenaline, or does it carry you through the full 9?
Second inning.
Really?
Well, I mean, I always thought that. I haven't started that many openers, but that was the battle with yourself. You'd have all the pregame build-up and the introductions, and the game would start. And of course, as a starting pitcher, you don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to, just walk the bases loaded or something in the first inning. So there's a lot more tension there. And then you get through that, and it's like all of a sudden the crowd quiets down, and that's when you have to play a little game with yourself and say, hey, I still got to keep that energy level up.
I think it's kind of like a horse race, because the horses are so intense, and so hyper when they get into the starting gate. But once the race starts, you begin to settle down a little bit. That's kind of the opening day is.
Derek Jeter looks at a pitch upstairs.
Excuse me, Michael. Once you get into the flow of the game, like Kitty was talking about, you begin to really settle down and get into your own routine. It really helps too if you got a couple of hits by about the 4th inning.
Yeah.
Jeter's 1 for 3. Yankees lead 3-1. First and second, 2 outs. High fly ball center field. Rowan is back. Got a lot of room out there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. But the Yankees get another run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. The big blow off the bat of that man, Jorge Posada. A home run into Death Valley. Yankees lead 3-1 as we head to the 7th inning.
Always when the game would start, you figure out a way to finish it off, and guys like Spahn and Whitey Ford were great at it. But the way the game is played today, realistically, if you're Javier Vasquez, you see, I'd like to pitch 9, but for all practical purposes, this would be his 9th inning. If he gets them out in order and gets through this inning without a lot of stress, then it's an out at a time, because then you're looking at Gordon and Quantrill, and if they got a lefty to match up, you're going to see Heredia and then Mo in the 9th.
He's about to throw his 87th pitch now. So working economically, the 2-2. Ooh, just missed outside, and the count is full.
Yeah, back in Mel Stottlemyre's day, as a matter of fact, I mean, they went out there to pitch 9 innings. As you see that just missing on the outside part. But today they're brought up with the fact that they go 5, 6, maybe 7 if they're having a good day.
And Vasquez's day continues to be good as he gets a pop-up to right field. And Enrique Wilson makes the play for the first out of the inning. Hey, don't miss the next CBS 2 Yankees game, and it is a dandy when the Bombers head to Boston. Be there, Yankees and Red Sox. That's next Saturday at 1, right here on CBS 2, the official broadcast home of the Yankees. I'm looking forward to that one.
Next, it's a week from Saturday.
From Saturday.
Wow. That's right. We'll be there, won't we?
4 games against the Red Sox.
I'll be watching you guys.
You won't be there with
No,
us.
I'm not going to be there this time.
Here's Konerko. High fly ball, center field. Bernie took a step in, now glides back. 2 away.
Kenny, I think what you were talking about with the pitchers, going 5 or 6 or 7 and turning it over the bullpen. That's the reason the bullpen has become as important now as your starting pitching.
Talking to Lou Piniella about that yesterday, that Whitey Herzog did it in 1982 with the Cardinals. You build your staff from the back, from the 9th inning down. And of course, the Yankees are an exception. They've got, Vasquez, the way he's throwing right now, it looks like he could pitch 10 or 11. This is what's so impressive about a young pitcher, from 27 years old. Sure, he's got 4 or 5 years in the big leagues with Montreal, but this kind of stage, and you get to that 7th inning and you got a 3-1 lead. It's so easy to say, well, I don't want to make a mistake now. And he has just been so aggressive. I think every pitch this inning has been a first pitch strike.
The 0-1. Greedy way out in front. Count 0-2.
Heard you say many, many times, that first pitch is the best pitch. That first pitch strike is the best pitch of baseball. And now he's got Creedy 0-2. It just takes so much away from the hitter when you've got them down in the count.
And that's what happens. An 0-2 breaking ball, and Creedy swings over the top. So Vasquez has retired 10 in a row. Another 1-2-3 inning for him. And the bottom just drops out of that breaking ball as Creedy swings over the top. At the end of 6.5, get up and stretch. Yankees lead the White Sox 3-1. And while you're standing, well, everybody here at the stadium will do the same thing, and they will honor America. That has become a tradition here at Yankee Stadium during the 7th inning stretch. And we are going to hear a rendition of God Bless America. And a familiar voice here at Yankee Stadium, Ronan Tynan, the famed Irish tenor, will do the honors. So why don't we listen to Bob Shepherd?
Please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate and welcome world-renowned Irish tenor Ronan Tynan. He's joined by very special guests. These are the pilots of the Navy F-4 Tomcats who flew over the Yankee Stadium prior to the game. They are here today representing the brave men and women of our armed forces. Mr. Tynan will now sing God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America.
you, Mr. Tynan.
Bullpen, and Ozzie Guillen decides to make that call. Scott Schoenweiss did a good job, and now he goes to John Adkins. So the Yankees will feast on a diet of Atkins pitches.
Yes, I knew that was coming. Probably a steady diet of fastballs.
And he will face Williams, A-Rod, and Giambi. You see Atkins' numbers last year with the White Sox. And that Verizon call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Verizon making progress every day. 3-1 Yankees lead, bottom of the 7th. Bernie leads off. And the pitch is inside.
You know, it's a nice problem to have if you're Joe Torre, but as I see Tom Gordon begin to loosen in the Yankee bullpen, is the toughest decisions with guys like Vasquez and Brown, and maybe Contreras, if they're pitching good games like this and the pitch count, which they pay so much attention to these days, is down. You say, well, you know, it's time to bring in Gordon, but the guy's been, I mean, he's thrown 22 out of 26 first pitch strikes in the last couple innings. He's just breezed. So you say, you know, do you really want to make a change right now?
Gordon pitched yesterday, pitched well. Vasquez has a relatively low pitch count right now, so it is going to be a tough call for Joe. I guess you could call that a good tough call.
Right. Well, I think back to Tom Kelly during the great run that the Minnesota Twins, for a small market team that did so well, won a couple world championships, and I just thought he was as good at handling pitchers as any manager during his time.
Bernie with a ground ball at first. Konerko beats him to the bag, 1 away.
His philosophy was always, if it's your time to pitch, it's your time to pitch. And he would bring him in according to that.
New York Yankees baseball on CBS 2 is brought to you by Toyota with 17 models. Which is perfect for you? By Hotels.com. On the road with Hotels.com. Best prices, best places, guaranteed. And by your local Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Here's Alex Rodriguez, and he pops it up right side. Willie Harris calls everybody off. 2 away. So A-Rod in his Yankee Stadium Yankee debut is 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored.
I think Alex Rodriguez is a guy you don't have to really worry a whole lot about it. By the time this season's over with, he's going to have the numbers that he has put up for several years. And last year he was 40+ home runs.
Here's Giambi. Count 1-0.
Well, you got to figure that Atkins, you know, a young right-hander who actually came over from the Oakland A's to the White Sox back in 2002. You got to figure that he's got a good arm.
Boy, he has.
He may not be poised yet, but he's got a good arm, and they'll work with that. Got that bullpen face.
Yes, he does.
Is that something else they teach down there? Is the look that you got to have when you come in out of the bullpen?
Yeah, got a little, you know, chewing gum in the cheek, and got that rough, tough, mean look.
Well, opening day here at the stadium, so it's got to rain, and that's what he's doing right now. Hot shot, and nice play by Konerko, and he flips to Atkins for the final out of the inning. So as the rain starts to fall here at Yankee Stadium, we have played 7 innings at the ballpark in the Bronx, and we've got a pitcher's duel. A really nice game. Yankees 3 and the White Sox 1. You're watching the Yankees on CBS 2. Perez takes a strike. Perez in there for Aaron Rowan. He's thrown 93 pitches, and what a ratio, 63 strikes.
Pretty much his book.
Now, there have been a lot of impressive things about him, but he looks the part, he acts the part of a top-notch pitcher. And there's an example of it. I mean, he is forcing the issue. in terms of throwing strikes and making the opposition beat him. A lot of times, and it's so easy to fall into that trap for a starter to say, well, you know, I pitched 7 innings, I did my job, or 6 innings, and then you go out there and you look at the scoreboard and say, no, let's see if I don't want to let this guy get on. I don't want to let him get a hit, because then that's my run. You start thinking negatively about protecting the lead, and Vasquez doesn't look like he's got any part of that in him.
Right back to Vasquez. Fields his position nicely. 1 away. 11 in a row for Vasquez.
In good position. Catch the one-hop comebacker.
Kitty, you won what, 12 Gold Gloves?
A couple.
15, or was it 15?
16.
Or 16 Gold Gloves. You've always said that there's 9 guys on the field, and the pitcher is as much of a defensive guy as anybody else out there, and you certainly proved that. You know, Ron Guidry was an outstanding fielder here for the Yankees. I mean, he was
played the outfield one time.
Played the outfield. In fact, I'll tell you how that happened. It was last day of the season, and Billy Martin was the manager, and I had a 5 or 5:15 flight. So Billy said, "Well, we'll get some people out there to help you out." Next thing I know, here comes Gator running out to center field and said, "I'm taking over." I ran in. He played the outfield. I went and caught my flight.
The 0-2 to Alomar. Driven out to right field. Sheffield right there. 2 away. Vasquez making it look easy, but it's not.
Well, the old matchup book.
Not much matching up you're going to do with this lineup coming up now, because you have Valentin. They're not going to pinch hit for him. Ordonez, Thomas, Carlos Lee. Only decision is if Joe feels comfortable saying, hey, he's been out there in command of the game, 2-run lead, or do you get Mariano up and bring him in the 9th?
A 1-0 to Harris, fouled away.
That's the downside of the specialization of the game, having to make those kinds of decisions. There's Mo beginning to stretch, anticipating that he'd be called on in the 9th.
Vasquez has had 16 complete games in his career, 4 last season, but because of the man you saw out there, he's not going to have many this year.
And I think, as Bobby pointed out, the depth of the bullpen is going to help Mariano. He won't be called on for so many of those 4-out saves. Well, these fans sure appreciate the job this young man's done.
The 1-2. 2-2. Well, no matter how this turns out, he has answered one thing. This is about as big a stage as you could have in the regular season. The home opener at Yankee Stadium, a sellout crowd in the Bronx, all the pomp and circumstance. Rizzuto, Barrow, Ford throwing out the first pitch, and he has handled it all very, very well. In fact, he's handled it exceptionally, and that was one of the big question marks. Ground ball to second base, and that'll do it. What a finish for Vasquez if, in fact, his day is done. He retired the last 13 White Sox he faced, and the crowd gives him an ovation as he walks off the mound. Will he come out for the 9th? Will it be Rivera time? We go to the bottom of the 8th, 3-1 Yanks. The new Chevrolet. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. By Verizon. Make progress every day. And by Ford, the best-selling vehicles in America. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here at the stadium, and Yankee fans have to be thrilled so far. After 7.5 innings of play, the Yankees are leading 3-1. The debut of Javi Vasquez has been a colossal success. His day is probably over as Mariano Rivera begins to warm up in the bullpen. But what a day it's been for Vasquez. He will never forget this one. Gary Sheffield leads off here in the bottom of the 8th, and the Yankees would love to get an insurance run. That one's hit deep to left field, but it is foul. Oh, did he hit that into the upper deck and left?
Bobby, I was talking about how Soriano, when he was here, had some of the mannerisms of Hank Aaron. I think when I see Sheffield whip that bat, he reminds me a little of Willie Mays.
Ground ball is short. Valentin with a nice hop. Away.
I agree with you. Obviously, you don't teach guys to do that. You just develop that habit. That's really a timing mechanism for a lot of hitters to do that. But even though he whips that back and forth, by the time that ball gets there, he's already got his hand set to swing through the pitch.
Well, Ozzie Guillen will now begin to mix and match. Joe Torre hasn't had to do that. You see Vasquez's number, a 2-hitter over 8 innings, 1 run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. And what's happening now is that Guillen is going to go for the left-hander in the bullpen. He'll call on Neil Kotz. Atkins did a very good job. Economical. He retired all 4 Yankees he faced. So the left-hander Kotz will turn Posada around to the right side when we get back. He has the book right there, and he's going over it with Jorge Posada. He is into this job as hitting coach.
Yeah, well, this is another young pitcher. They don't know a whole lot about him. So what do your hitters do? They huddle around your hitting instructor and your hitting coach, and he's probably got a thing or two on Neil Kotz, so they get a little bit of an idea what they can look for. Interesting that Guillen would go and take Atkins out and turn Posada around. I mean, Posada's got home run power from both sides, maybe a little bit more from the left side, but boy, he had a towering shot the last time up from the right side.
Well, then you have Matsui, a lefty, coming up next. The only time the Yankees saw Kotz, remember how well the White Sox were playing last year. They swept the first 2 games of a series and opted to start Neil Kotz instead of Mark Burley in Game 3, and the Yankees knocked him around.
A good arm, but he has a little bit of a problem in this area here with those 17 walks.
Floating strike zone.
Fastball around 91 to 93. Pretty good hard curveball. Fouled away. This is the type of pitcher you would be if there were 2 of you. Kotz.
Yeah.
Be a long game for Kitty, though.
If you had a Cott on each side pitching, it'd be an hour game.
It would.
And the count is 3-2.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun this year if Javier Vasquez and Kevin Brown pitch the way they have the times we've seen them. I mean, these are guys that there's no indecision. They know what they want to do and go about it. I mean, they're going to win every game.
Well, Bobby, you pretty much highlighted what the problem is with Neil Kotz, and he comes in and boom, he walks Jorge Posada.
Well, there's a lot of good arms in the minor leagues, a lot of good arms in baseball, but it's not how hard you throw. You got to be able to throw the ball over for a strike. Jimmy, he'll tell you a test more to that than anybody else. I mean, you just cannot pitch in the big leagues and be successful not being able to throw strikes.
And one thing that'll frustrate a manager is this. I mean, you can come in, give up a couple hits, get out of the inning, but if it's deep counts and base on balls, that not only frustrates a manager, but your entire ball club. You begin to look at the White Sox now, the infield, Willie Harris looking at the dirt, pawing around. It's been a well-played, well-pitched game. And then you get a pitcher that comes in, just doesn't throw it over. You lose the whole rhythm of the ball.
Matsui waves at a pitch upstairs.
And really, from a hitter standpoint, when a kid is struggling, you pretty much take one of his pitches away. I take the breaking ball away and only look for the fastball because, I mean, if he's struggling, he's got to throw his fastball over one time for at least a strike. You almost take one pitch away from him. See, he can't get his breaking ball over, so you don't even pay any attention to it.
Well, control is so mental. I mean, if you took Hideki Matsui right now, sat him in the dugout, and there wasn't a hitter out there, Neil Kotz could probably throw strikes, easily. But the hitter in the box with the bat in your hand, and you get a little strike zone shy, and you're afraid they're going to hit it. That's what affects a guy's control.
Runner goes, and a hot shot to the third baseman, Creedy. He can't handle it. He's handled everything down there today, but not that one. We'll see how they score. Yankees have runners on first and second. And Bill Shannon says E5.
Well, I tell you what, Creedy's, we've seen him make 2 fantastic plays at third base, but this inside out from the left-handed batter down to the third base side, sometimes that'll really throw you off. You'll see one of the plays he made. Nice stop on the prone position. Watch him get up with the strong arm. He just kept making them all day long. And then finally they found a weak spot, I guess.
Here's Ruben Sierra. Yankees look to pad the lead. And the pitch is low, 1-0. Sierra today is 1 for 3. The one and single through the left side in the 6th inning.
Kind of what we were talking about. I was alluding to the fact that you bring the left-hander in after 1 out because you turn Posada around the right side, but you got Matsui, who's a left-handed hitter. Yeah, that may have something to do with it. But you also got the switch hitter, Ruben Sierra, hitting behind him. You got the switch hitter, Enrique Wilson, hitting behind Sierra. So, it's not really a big deal.
Now, sometimes you look at those matchups too closely. Maybe it was because it's early in the year, and Atkins, you get him in there for 3-4 outs and say, okay, he's done a nice job. Let's get one of my other pitchers in there. Like to get those first appearances out of the way.
Missed outside, 3-1. Now, surprisingly, well, now somebody's getting up in the bullpen. Looked like they had shut it down for a while. No, no one is. It's just walking around. So this is Neil Kotz's game at this point. Game could get away. 3-2.
I think whoever's out there may be warm already.
That's Shingo Takatsu, the all-time saves leader over in Japan that the White Sox signed for a fairly lucrative contract.
Let's see if they send the runners on 3-2. They do. Foul back. Joe's being quite daring early in the year.
Well, I mean, Ruben Sierra normally puts the ball on the bat, and you got to figure that the kid's having problems throwing his breaking ball, so you're going to get a fastball anyway. 3-1 lead, base hit, you got a run scored. Maybe stay on the double play.
Runners go again. Swung on a miss. The throw to third is in time. A strike him out, throw him out, double play. You score the out at third, 2-5. So Kotz gets out of further trouble. It's time for the Sandman to enter as he tries to put the White Sox to sleep. The home opener, Yankees lead 3-1. Last licks for Chicago. From Sandman, and they get up and they cheer. Whoever thought that Metallica would be so big in the Bronx?
I'll tell you, I can't imagine the rush that Mariano must get. That's the coolest entry in all of sports. He had a little sticky situation last night in Tampa Bay, and I talked to Joe Torre last night and again today about it. Mo doesn't get many double play balls, and here's Eduardo Perez. The White Sox, the Yankees didn't guard the line because you don't pull Mariano that often. Willie Randolph had suggested that, and then after walking a left-hand hitter intentionally, Brooke Fordyce, who was 5 for 11 against Mariano, hits a one-hop double play to end the game. I said, Joe, what were you thinking there? He said, I'll never forget playing third base behind Bob Gibson, and Gibson would look over and give you that little hand sign, hey, I'm going to throw it down and in, be ready, inning double play, and that's what Mariano did. He threw that little two-seamer.
Now Mariano Rivera will put the finishing touches on what Javi Vasquez has painted for 8 innings. 2, 3, and 4 in the White Sox order. Valentin against Rivera. You see his numbers last year. sparkling as always. Fouled straight back here, 0-1.
Some of your 3-out saves could be, a little not too stressful because you might have the bottom third of the order, but he's got 3 quality hitters he has to get out right here. Got Valentin, Ordonez, Frank Thomas, and if a man gets on, Carlos Lee.
Line drive, base hit to right field. So Valentin with a leadoff single, and that will bring up the tying run.
That's always cause for concern. If a left-hand hitter hits the ball sharply, doesn't break his bat against Mariano, you just kind of scratch your head and say, where's that cutter? I mean, lefties just don't hit him at all.
I think it's a good sign to say that the cutter's not cutting that much. It seemed to be last night. I was watching on television. Of course, you see sometimes the pitch is a little bit different, but it didn't seem that the cutter had that real bite to it like it normally does.
There's right back to Rivera. He'll go to second one, on to first. It gets past Giambi and bounces into the seats. So Wilson tried to turn that into too much. Probably should have just taken the 1 out and eaten it. But he tried to get the double play. Instead, 1 out, now runner on second.
One hopper like Mo got last night. Again, that was that two-seamer running in on the hands. He makes an accurate throw, and you're right, Enrique, very little chance to get 2, and that takes the double play away, the conventional double play. Mariano, great athlete, makes a nice play and a nice throw.
Here's Frank Thomas. One of the great hitters of this generation against one of the game's great relief pitchers. Thomas the tying run. Yankees lead 3-1. Thomas is 3 for 16 lifetime against Rivera.
Was it the first time last night Roger Clemens facing Barry Bonds, the first time a 300-game winner, faced a 659 home run player.
Just missed inside. Yesterday, Rivera was working with about a week's worth of rest. Now, back-to-back performances.
You go into that pitch more and more now. That was the two-seam. We've explained to fans the difference between two-seam and see that pitch down and in, just the opposite of the cutter, which would go away from Frank Thomas.
The 2-2, fist it, right side of the infield. Giambi calls off Wilson, 2 away. Got him right in on the hands.
That's the other weapon that he has come up with, is that two-seamer that Kitty is alluding to, that keeps those right-handed hitters alive, because, we've had a lot of switch hitters that turn around now and are batting right-handed against Mariano for the simple reason it takes away the cutter. I mean, they have a better chance because that ball is cutting away, and the ball, and as they swing, the bat also is extended out, so they get a better extension on it.
Carlos Lee, this could be the game. A worm burner to Jeter. Across to Giambi. And the Yankees win the home opener 3-1. Javi Vasquez, brilliant in his Yankee debut. Alex Rodriguez scored a run. Broke in as a Yankee in pinstripes here in the Bronx with a victory. And Mariano Rivera closes it out. So that's pretty much the script that they draw up.
All the talk about the all-star lineup, but it's still all about the pitching.
All in all, a good afternoon for a start for the Yankees, finally making it back home. A-Rod getting his first win at Yankee Stadium in pinstripes.
And if you look at the Yankee 3 wins, 2 outstanding pitching performances by Kevin Brown, and a great pitching performance this afternoon in front of a crowd of 55,290 at Yankee Stadium by Javier Vazquez. So Vazquez, some people question, could he pitch on the big stage? Could he make it on Broadway? Big crowd here at Yankee Stadium. 55,290 is about 10 games worth at Montreal's Olympic Stadium, and he has certainly proven, Bobby, that he could do the job here.
There's no doubt about that, and as we were talking throughout the broadcast, everything in his statistics, everybody that you talked to, there was nothing that they could say bad about Javier Vazquez. The only thing that they could question, well, could he pitch at a big market like New York? I think he's answered that question.
Oh, he certainly has answered it in the affirmative. There aren't many bigger regular season games than this. We'll come back, we'll break it down, and then we'll wrap it up. Stay with us. Yankees win the home opener 3-1.